was trendy at that time, and people started questioning the group, whether they were out to play music or get involved politically.
Well, they were looking, you know, they were very young. I mean, they
Sure.
were only in their late 20s even then. They were under 30 when they broke up. And they were looking for something, and they thought maybe Maharishi had a special message. And John used to say, I hope he slips it to me soon.
You go back to 1964. What's the magic? What made the Beatles work in 1964 in this country? Let's be specific.
Well, I think that there was enormous talent there waiting to be tapped, and I think that the United States was at a very sensitive time. We arrived within weeks of the Kennedy assassination, which I think stunned the nation, and we would just arrive ready to make, you know, with a little happiness.
I think you did. How long were you with the Beatles?
Well, from before the beginning right up until the breakup at the end of 1970.
Did you shed tears over the breakup? How did you officially learn of the breakup?
Well, Paul came to me and said that he felt he was being put in such a difficult position that he was going to have to sue the others for a dissolution of the partnership. And I said, well, I think that's my exit line, too. And I then gave him my notice. My
goodness, history being made, and you were there. Stick around with us. We have Dan Ealey from Cookeville, and he, over the years, has assembled quite a collection of Beatle memorabilia. And we're going to stir your memory some, too, Peter. Stay where you are, and we'll be back with more of the magazine right after this. Well, first of all, Dan Ealey joins us now. Dan is with WPTN Radio up in Cookeville. Hey, it's good to have you here. I know you brought along a big collection of Beatle memorabilia. We were talking about some of the songs on some of the albums. And Peter, let me get back to you for just a moment. You know that song, The Ballad of John and Yoko, which was like 1969? You're the only guy ever mentioned in a Beatles song. It says, Peter Brown called to say you can make it okay, you can get married in Gibraltar near Spain. What's okay?
There was a terrible problem about how John and Yoko could get married, privately, quietly, without a terrible fuss. Paul and Linda had just got married. I think that Dan told me today that I forgot
their anniversary.
Their anniversary, which I was at, but I didn't remember which day it was.
You forgot to send a card?
And John wanted, you know, John took me aside one day and said that he wanted to get married. I just helped, you know, arrange the divorces of both Yoko and John, and now getting married. And it was very difficult, the idea of almost anywhere in the Western world, you have to establish some notice or some residency.
Right.
Which you can, a minute of notice, of course, would have blown it with them because they were so high profile at the time. And then I discovered that John, as a British subject, could in fact go to Gibraltar, near Spain, and could get married without any notice. So that's what I arranged it very carefully. We didn't even tell the other Beatles. We went off. I went ahead of them and met them at the airport. We drove straight to the governor's office. They got married, back onto John's private plane, and we went off to Paris. I mean, it was all, we left Gibraltar 45 minutes after they'd arrived.
You clever devil. Now you folks know the story.
And that was his way of thanking me.
And the Ballad of John and Yoko. Dan, I'm curious, back in 1964 when the Beatles first hit, describe what came over you. Can you describe Beatlemania or why you became such a fanatic collecting things?
I think it kind of slips up on you. I don't think it's something that you just decide to get into. I was affected by the Beatles like everyone else when they saw them on Ed Sullivan. And then they come out with a record and you decide to go to the 5 and 10 store, 5 and 10 cent store and pick up the Beatles' new single.
Right.
And then they come out with Hard Day's Night and you want to go see their movie. And then before you know it, you've got, you know, you've got
$4 dolls to begin with.
I've got 4 dolls.
Where'd you get these?
After the Tennessean did the story on my Beatle collection, someone called me up and they said, do you have the 4 dolls? And I said, no, I just have a couple of them. So they said, well, we'd like for you to have them. So they gave me a price and sent them to me COD.
A price, COD, yes. Okay, we have some other shots of some of the memorabilia, too.
That's a Hard Day's Night movie poster. It's the one that all the theaters have.
How many people are actively collecting Beatle goods now? Do you have any idea?
Well, I don't think there's that many people that...
I mean, professionally.
Not that many people. I collect it for myself, and I trade around with friends. But some people buy and sell as a business, and that's not what I do.
Right. You've got a couple of clocks. Is that right?
That's John Lennon alarm clock.
John Lennon alarm clock?
And the Beatles alarm clock. And in the background is the Flip Your Wig game, a Milton Bradley game. That's kind of like Operation or something you can play, and it's got the little Beatles that you bounce around the board. And
do you have some of these at home, Peter?
No.
You have never seen these, huh?
No.
I call that a Beatle drink tray. It's from NIMS. It was licensed by NIMS in 1964.
Now, the goods aren't worth anything unless they are licensed by a Beatle company. Is that right? Or
No, that's not necessarily true. Some items that were just bootleg items end up being worth something, and if you had original poster maybe of one of their concerts.
Is that the Butcher's Block one behind
That's the
there?
Butcher
Yeah, the
album,
famous
which
one.
I bought a guy's complete collection for maybe $1 an album,
are you serious?
and I ran across that one. It was pasted over at the time.
My God. Speaking of records, get that one out that you were showing me right before the show. For those of you who know your Beatle trivia, your Beatle history, he's going to dig through there and find it. You know that before the Beatles actually recorded, they were backup singers to a pop artist. Yeah, just hold that right there. A guy named Tony Sheridan played a major role. Just sort of tilt it forward a little bit, that way we don't get the glare. Tony Sheridan, and see, the Beat Brothers. The song was My Bonnie. The Beat Brothers, that was Paul McCartney and John Lennon, right?
Oh, and Pete Best.
And Pete
It was
Best.
before Ringo.
They were singing the backups on that, and that was, where was that recorded? Germany?
Hamburg, yeah.
Hamburg. How much is that worth? Any idea?
The book says that it's worth $700.
$700 for one
Probably
single?
a day's salary at WSM.
No, no. Bring out some more of the goods there. You brought all sorts of goodies here. So, if, you know, these are some that we didn't take a shot of.
Here's a Russian Beatle single.
A Russian Beatle? All right. Here, let's just hold it around here on camera one. This is a Russian. You can't even pronounce the title of that, can you?
I think that may be She Loves You.
She Loves You in Russian?
The recording is in English, but it's a Russian label.
Is it a good pressing?
Yeah, it's
It
not
looks
bad.
like a great pressing, actually.
Actually, it's an EP. It has 2 songs on it.
How was the Beatle music accepted in Russia? Because you were doing...
I didn't know that it ever was issued there. I mean, I knew it was on the black market, and
So this
it
is
was
black
a big
market?
following.
No, this is official. In the beginning, there were no Beatle records on the market. And just in the last few years did they decide to issue a couple of them for the general public because the demand was high.
20 years late.
Yes.
What's one item that you continually search for and haven't been able to locate yet that you've heard about?
Oh, I'd like to buy something like an original Beatles Gold Album award or something. I've had a couple of opportunities, but at the time my salary couldn't support my habit.
Well, who would have something like that that'd want to sell it?
Well, they exist, and it's kind of a close-knit group of collectors, and they go to
How'd they get it?
conventions. Well, they buy it. You run into bootleg copies from people who work in...
The Gold Album must belong to the Apple or to one of the Beatles.
Exactly.
Well, yes, they were presented to them, but they have separate, like the awards are, the Record Association of America may provide them with a gold album. Billboard may provide them with a gold album. There's several of them floating around.
Right.
And the last time I could have bought Band on the Run maybe for $1,200.
We didn't pick them up. And what used to happen, it was too many problems eventually, and they were always left at Capitol in Los Angeles.
So people would just grab them, run out with
I don't
them?
know what Capitol did with them, but they were...
No, there's always somebody in the back room ready to take one home.
One thing that I do have, which, you know, because I didn't really collect things at the time, one didn't really realize, there's a poster that I have that I have not seen many of, is of them naked.
What?
Well, it's not them, of course, it's some 4 men naked with the Beatle head superimposed very cleverly on top.
Kind of like, I think that was recently done with Lady Di also.
Well, there's something to look for. Dan, appreciate you bringing all the goodies by here. Okay. And, oh, you even have a picture of Peter in one of the books there. He may surprise you.
I don't
with
know
that.
if they can get a shot.
I don't know. Try camera 1 there.
Okay, I have to get a close-up. It's the corner.
You're everywhere, Peter. You know that?
I didn't think I was.
Yeah, you're all over the Beatles.
He's in the background. This
Yeah,
is when the
might be a little
Beatles...
difficult.
That was when they were filming Let It Be on the roof.
Okay, he's standing next to the door.
Yes,
There you
that
go.
was the last Beatle appearance live
On top of the building,
on
wasn't it?
top of the roof at Apple.
That's right. Well, Peter, it's been fun reliving some of the memories of the Beatles. Enjoyed having you on the show. Dan, thanks for bringing all the goodies down from Cookville.
My
Okay?
pleasure.
Okay, no, let me have a Beatle button before you leave. Don't go away. Right now we have the entertainment news. Here's Pat.
You don't want my...
Charlie, this next fellow is not as famous as the Beatles, but he's getting to be that way. Mr. T is bringing his tough guy image to New York to continue his crime-busting ways. In a new